I'm Lea Woodford, founder and CEO of SmartFem magazine. I'm on a quest to meet some of the most influential people in today's world. I'll be talking to women and companies that understand the fierce brand loyalty of the female consumer. We'll get a behind-the-scenes look at some of the risks, challenges, and successes of today's most influential people. Hi, this is Lea Woodford of SmartFemTV, and today I'm talking to consumer advocate Erin Brockovich. Erin, I am so excited to talk to you, but before we get started, you had a movie named after you with Julia Roberts, and you changed the fate of an entire town. Can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, I didn't change the fate of the entire town. They did. Okay. The people did. I came out and made them aware what was happening. I kind of was on the learning curve with them as well, but I would be out at agencies and provide them information and leave them and talk to them and get them together. And when they became united, they became an amazing movement in of themselves. So I'm always uncomfortable taking any credit that I changed their fate.
Well, what was it like having, well, first of all, Julia Roberts won an Academy Award for portraying you in a movie that was named after you. How does that make you feel?
You know, it's really funny. People ask me these questions, and you know, that was Julie's performance. That was her honor. I'm proud of the work that she did. I'm proud of the work that we did. I'm proud of the people in Hinckley. I never thought that it'd turn into a film that continues to live on. It's things that we never really expected. I feel very proud. I'm very happy with the result. It's a double-edged sword because, you know, we were doing work out there with people being poisoned and people getting sick and people passing away. And then to have a great movie, it was an amazing platform to create further awareness.
Explain what you do as a consumer advocate. Loaded question.
It is a loaded question. You know, I began my work in water. I was born and raised in Lawrence, Kansas. My dad's the one that taught me the value of water. He promised me in my lifetime it'd be a commodity. I think he's gonna be right. And I care about people's health and welfare. I've always been interested in medicine and science. When I started my work in Hinckley, all of that was kind of around me, and I wasn't really sure what was going on. But once we found out what was going on, I became super focused on what had happened to the water and to these people. And my consumer advocacy over the years has kind of grown from being known as an environmentalist and working in the environment and what happens to communities to all kinds of women's issues. Sometimes I'm like myself, all the emails that come in and all of the issues. So I'm an advocate for people, I'm an advocate for the consumer, and that touches a lot of things other than the environment, from medicines to water to air to all kinds of consumer products that people have issues with.
So what is it that's keeping you up at night right now?
A lot. Frustration over the scores and the number. It's hard to even have a conversation anymore because it's so daunting. I think that people just don't listen. And we have such a water crisis in this country, and I think people don't know it. And all night long, me, my partners, my close co-workers, it's overwhelming. It's everywhere. Hinckley taught us that water pollution is a real issue. In Flint, Michigan, it taught us about lead in the water and agency cover-up. And there's not one Hinckley, and there's not one Flint. And what people don't realize is it's in everyone's backyard.
Where's Hinckley now?
Gone. Everything's gone. After the film came out, PG&E had been trying to clean up the plume by sucking it all to a location and then aerating it out. Well, they were releasing way above the state's level for hexavalent chromium in the air. When they stopped that, the plume broke through. And so over the years, PG&E's had to buy up all the property out there. And the post office is gone, the grocery store is gone, everybody's gone, because the entire aquifer system is heavily polluted, and it will be, by their estimation, for the next 200 years. So it's gone. It's a ghost town. Nothing.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. And I'm seeing that happen in a lot of places around this country.
So what are your thoughts on corporate responsibility? What can companies do to ensure that another Hinckley doesn't happen?
Don't hide it. That's amazing to me. That's the one thing that just gets my goat, is the lack of transparency. Listen, people generally are pretty understanding. They cooperate with you, but when you lie to them, when you deceive them, that's when it becomes kind of a different scenario. I mean, we can talk about Flint, Michigan. Are you kidding me? You know there's lead in the water, you know children are drinking, and you make a clear decision to say nothing? That's the problem. And I do believe that there is room for companies and corporate America and industry to stand out and be a hero and be a good neighbor. Tell the truth. If you have a problem, fix it. It's not that hard.
Now, are there any companies that you think are doing a great job in being responsible with the environment or other human health issues?
There are. I mean, look, universities do wonderful things. Researchers are doing wonderful things. I haven't, when it comes to like the fracking issues we're dealing on and corporate oil stepping up and having discussions with communities or coming in and trying to fix things or do it the right way. They'll always do it the wrong way to save a buck. And that's one thing we got to stop doing. You can't put the almighty dollar over the health and the welfare of countless numbers of people. And that's something that I'm not sure that corporate America is looking at yet. There are some, off the top of my head, I couldn't give you one.
What about
specific
Elon
name.
Musk? Elon Musk and Tesla and finding cleaner fuel resources. What are your thoughts on him and the way he's running his company and bringing solar more forefront?
Any company that is going to look at new energy and less ways to destroy the environment, I'll always be a fan of. But I'm in such a different position, and it's really getting frustrating for me. I honestly, like you asked earlier why I stay awake at night, because I see what no one else does. And so I still see a lot of this bad behavior. It's hard for me to pick out anybody that I think's making that effort. Listen, we're not about or against any company. I'm about bridging here, okay? Together. We all have so much in common, and the division is driving me crazy. We have good water in common. We all need water, right? We all appreciate our health, right? There's so much we have in common that we continue to be divisive on, and we're not asking them to go away. I'm just asking companies to be forthwith, transparent. When you have an issue, when you've created a mess, clean it up and don't deceive the people. It's really that simple.
How do you think the current administration, I know this is a big question, but it feels like there's a war on the EPA right now, and I would like to know your thoughts.
This is a very delicate conversation. My father, I was born and raised in Kansas, you know that, always said, if you want to get along with people, don't talk about politics. So I had to laugh, but that's kind of something we can't get away from. The war on EPA, as you've said, didn't just happen in this administration. And I'm not gonna lie, they've had problems for a really long time. I've been out there for 20 years, and I've seen them absent over and over and over again. That didn't just start because we have a new administration. These problems have existed within this agency for a long time. Having said that, I don't like to beat up on the EPA. There are incredible people within that agency that mean well, that want to do well. But it's kind of stuck in this political problem where they're understaffed, they're underfunded, and they're overburdened. So they're gonna always kind of be on the attack. I don't think we need to get rid of the EPA, but somebody needs to, whoever's above them, come in and give them the funding that they need to go out and do their job. And people will say all the time, EPA is here and it's going to be okay. And I tell people, see, Superman's not coming. And if you're looking for the EPA to be that, you're going to be disappointed. And oftentimes their hands are tied. And I can tell you we have safely over 20,000 Superfund sites now that they can't even get to. What does that say?
Oh my goodness.
So I worry about the EPA. I support the EPA. Part of the problem is all this political division that goes on within them because somebody doesn't want them to do their job and come out and see this mess and find out the truth. And somewhere I feel like their hands get tied. But that isn't what's the current administration's doing. It's just been a long time coming. And now the frustration is so great that I think we're seeing issues within the EPA, and I know people are frustrated with Scott Pruitt's appointment. I know they want to blame the current administration. It's just not that easy. It's just not that simple, and it's really complicated. And I think it would be a tragedy if they get further funding. I think it would be a tragedy to cut funding to National Institute of Health. Those things clearly concern me. They're under enough assault, and you're just going to put more pressure on them, and that means less response, less cleanup, and more problems that the environment and the people are probably going to have to endure.
Now, Erin, how can we as consumers get involved?
You know, I'm so glad you asked that because I've seen some amazing things go on in the environment, in the communities. I'm going to give you an example of Hannibal, Missouri. We all know of that town. I would think we would because of Mark Twain. And it would take me too long to talk about the use of chloramines in our water supply, which is what's causing a great deal of our lead issues within our municipal systems across the country. But in Hannibal, Missouri, a group of women came to me, and when something starts in a community, they email Erin Brockovich. I'm like, oh, but they had very high lead levels in their water. Some of the testing was higher than Flint. And so we went into town and we educated and made them aware and informed them of what was causing this. And so the women mostly were going, oh no, I don't want this. What could we do? So we said, well, a lot of things happen right at your own local council. And so they decided to run for council, and one of them won. And they made it their job to educate the entire town on the use of chloramines, which is what was causing their lead issues, why they shouldn't have it. They got a referendum on the ballot. They put it to vote. 58% of the town who is now informed, aware, and active made a vote. No more chloramines used in our water, and the municipal system now must comply with that because it's law. That's the power of the people. That's the power of awareness. That's the power of getting involved. Imagine if every town, every council, in every little community, in every single state across America did that.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? See, I sometimes I think I'm weird because I'm like, yeah, go.
No, I think it's awesome.
But it's the people, and going back to what you said in the beginning, how I feel about it is nothing. This isn't about Erin Brockovich. This is about every one of us. And had the people in Hinckley not made that movement, it wouldn't have turned out the way it did, any more than in Hannibal. And so I think for me is getting people unstuck and believing you can actually learn something and be informed, and it's okay, you know, because a lot of times people are like, well, I already know. Okay, well, let that guard down and let's have a look at maybe something else that was going on that you don't know. But to get them talking and to get them united and to get them on the same page. We all think we're so different, but you know what? In my line of work, at the end of the day, when it comes to water and our environment and the future health and welfare of yourself, your family, your children, and your neighbor, we all have a lot in common. And I think that moment is kind of really starting to surface again, where we're going to do that. And for me, that's what's exciting, and that's what it's about. And so that's why when someone will ask me something about the film, Erin Brockovich, I'm like, because it's the people. It was all of us, and it's.
But you showed that one person can make a difference, and that your voice could be heard. And I find, especially today, with the country as divided as it is right now, I think that's really encouraging and really important. One person can make a difference, and you bring a whole community together, you can make a really big difference. So tell me, Erin, about some of the things that you saw in Hinckley when you were out there.
So when I got out to Hinckley, I can remember so clearly, almost from day one, and people being out there, or experts or other people looking into the situation, looking at green water, first of all. Hexavalent chromium in water around 1 ppm will start to take on a green, specifically green tone. And I saw this green water coming out and two-headed frogs in people's yards. I mean, I'd been out there standing and observing and walking around and going, this is bizarre. I mean, animals are sick, animals are covered in tumors, trees are dying, people are sick. I'm looking at green water and two-headed frogs, and I actually have like experts or people from the company saying, well, that's kind of the standard here. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure about that. But I was always told, well, are you a doctor? Are you a scientist? Are you an attorney? And I'm like, okay, well, so if I'm not, well, you just don't understand this then. I'm like, I don't have to be any of that to be a human being and to tell you what I see right here, right now, is not right. And a lot of times in communities, people will say things, but there comes that little pushback. Well, are you this? Are you that? Well, do you know your science? Well, we don't have a peer-reviewed study. I had some scientist say to me on the phone, or somebody from the other side in an interview, well, Erin, when you have a peer-reviewed study, you know, then we'll listen to you. And I'm like, you bring up a really valid point, because I'm never afraid to tell you I don't have all the data. I have enough to tell you that I think we need to take a further look into this situation. But here's something you didn't think of. You don't have the data either. That's what's scary. That information exists within the communities, within our observation, within our agencies, within our documents, and learning and listening and watching actually what the people are going through. Because for me in Hinckley, it made no sense. People just don't go around for shits and giggles, excuse me, making up outlandish things about two-headed frogs, green water, and that their health is deteriorating, or the tumors that they have, or they've been diagnosed with a disease, and then start making a connection that we've got a polluted water supply and environment that in fact could be affecting us. We just don't do that. And so oftentimes they see things, they know things in communities, and they don't say anything because the other side's pushing back. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not this and you're not that, and therefore you just accept the green water and the two-headed frogs. Not on my watch. Nope. I just, well, time out, foul. I'm not buying it.
Erin, we've run out of time and I could talk to you forever, but can you tell our viewing audience about your foundation and where you're at with that and how they can get involved?
Well, we've started the Erin Brockovich Foundation, and we're just about ready to kind of come out. So stay tuned. We have a website up, Erin Brockovich Foundation, but what we want that foundation to be and do is we learn so much from the communities, is we would like to go in and be able to provide them the tools where they can fundraise themselves, put together their own committees, own ways to run for their city council, so that they can begin right in their own backyard the process. We think everything comes from the top down, and it's born from here, and it's going to go up, and oftentimes they don't have the tool and the funding to get started. And so that's what we want the foundation to be able to do. And also to be able to begin to look at, when we get in these communities, where we can effectively change policy and begin to work towards that. So we're there, Erin Brockovich Foundation, we're just about ready to fire it up, so stay tuned, but we're not ready
not
yet. But
I'm going to call you when it's up and
you
going.
can call me when it's up and running. But it's really, we want the foundation to be assistance and tools provided to the community. Like I said, every one of us is an Erin Brockovich, and what makes me so sad is almost every town has become a Hinckley or a Flint. I never expected that. But I will tell you, from the bottom of my heart, and I will never lose my hope or faith in the people, ever.
Erin, thank you so much for coming today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This was really amazing.
Thank you.
This has been Lea Woodford of SmartFemTV. Thanks for watching.